How are y'all guys doing today?
Doing good.
Really good.
Sweet. So like how I was talking about, so y'all guys are like the test subjects. I've done podcasts with 3 people, so that's been
Yes.
fine. I just got new equipment, which is actually great. Separate audio tracks. The only thing I need to update is my mic, so I could get one of the Rhodes, and also I don't have a headset, but that should be cool. But yeah, how is everything going so far with y'all guys?
Things are good. So we're kind of coming up on a big audiobook milestone. So for the viewers that don't know, Cole and I are audiobook narrators and producers. So we have a home studio that we produce audiobooks for clients all over the world. And I'm about to do my 100th audiobook next week, which is crazy.
Congratulations.
So yeah, thank you. It's kind of, I feel like I've learned a lot, but also learned like I have a lot more to learn.
Still learning as we go.
Yeah, we're definitely still learning as we go. So production is good. Cole and I are, we do dual, there's single narrations, which we do, but we also do what's called dual narrations, where we narrate books together. And so we have done 10 books together. And we're doing our 10th book right now, which is a romance. We do books that are focused on LGBT plus community. And in this particular book, we play 2 students at a prep school. And I've never done like a prep school romance before. So this is the third. There's 3 books in the series. Cole and I narrate the first book and the third book. But there's a different couple that's narrating book 2. So we're recording now book 3. So
wow. How did that start with y'all? Has that always been like a dream, or?
It's everybody who I talk to about audiobook narration kind of falls into it. I feel like every job I've ever had has led me to this job. So I have my BFA in musical theater from USD. Go Yotes. And so I did many years of children's theater. And so I worked with a company affiliated with the university, the Black Hills Playhouse. I'm a proud alum of the Black Hills Playhouse, and I worked for their education department for many, many years. And when I was on the road doing children's theater, so over the course of 10 years, I taught over 8,000 students. All over South Dakota. We bring arts education to rural communities, places that don't typically have arts education, and that's with the Dakota Players. So I have even written a show for them, which is on the road right now. But when I was on the road, I used to listen to audiobooks to pass the time, because sometimes you'll be on the road traveling on Sundays for maybe 8 to 10 hours to go from one side of the state to the other. And so to pass the time, I would listen to audiobooks. And what's so weird looking back on it now is that some of the people that I would listen to as fans, I play Dungeons and Dragons with now, which is so mind boggling to me. And I would I remember where I was. I was in Mobridge, South Dakota. I was on the treadmill. I was listening to a narrator who I really like. And I remember thinking, how do they do this? And my last tour partner, so this would have been in 2019, she was a narrator. And I kept hearing from the students, like, you are a great storyteller. Because I would tell stories to the students about my travels and everything. And they go, you're a great storyteller. And so I kept wondering, like, how do you do that? And so she took a class from another narrator, and it lasted for a week. And at the end of the week class, you had to submit an audition for an audiobook. And so this would have been in the early 2019. I did the class. I learned how to use Audacity, which is a digital workstation, and then had to submit an audition through what's called ACX, which is Audiobook Creation Exchange, which is a division of Audible, which is their independent authors division. So if you write a book, you can promote through their Amazon self-publishing, and then you can go on to ACX and have an audiobook audition there for narrators. And so my first book audition was called My Dragon Prince, which was a shifter romance. I didn't know that shifter romances were a thing, and I got hired. And so I did and this was while I was on the road. So I had a really tired voice. I was in these little hotel rooms trying to make these books happen. And that was a horrible idea because I was traveling. You'd have when you record an audiobook, one of the major things you want to do is be in one space for the whole time. You don't want to change locations while you're recording because the rooms change. We could be in here and this room will sound very different than a room across the hall. Right. So I did everything wrong for those first 4 books and then, waited till I was off the road. And then in 2021, so we had a whole pandemic after that.
Sure did.
And Cole and I met right when I was starting audiobook narration. And so it was probably so then Cole and I got together. We met when I was on the road, and Cole moved to Vermillion after I left the Black Hills Playhouse, and I was working full-time at CESDAC, which is another company here in Vermillion, which supports adults with disabilities. Great company. And I just got I was working as a home manager at CESDAC and so grateful to work there, still connections with the people supported that I still have. But I was so tired and so burnt out. I was working 60 to 80 hour work weeks just because of pandemic. And, it was a crazy time for everybody. And I decided to leave CESDAC and I kept thinking about audiobook narration. You should do if you get up in the morning and all you can think about is audiobook narrating, you should try to be a narrator. If you get up in the morning and all you can think about is firefighting, you should be a firefighter. That's all I could think about was narrating. And so I quit my job. I didn't have any backup plan. And we had a PVC pipe booth that we built with moving blankets, and it was in our basement, and started to produce audiobooks and reached out to hundreds of authors trying to get work. And a lot of those people who, I met during those initial emails, I've done over 20 audiobooks with now. I met, there's a client who I work with who lives in New Zealand, who I happened to cold email and say, hey, are you looking for a narrator? And she said, yes, I will do a book with you every month. Let's start with 10 books and see how it goes. And so that's how it happened. And then I discovered that dual narration was a thing where I might narrate one chapter from my character's point of view, and then
I will narrate the other chapter from my point of view.
And so there was an audition on ACX. So this would have been right after I left CESDAC. It was a book called All the Stars, written by Ducky Mack. Hey, Ducky, if you watch this. And I said, Cole, do you want to audition for this with me? And Cole had a crazy pandemic experience, which led him to audiobook narration.
So I was going to college down at Missouri Western State University in St. Joe, Missouri. And I graduated during the real initial peak of COVID. And so I was set to do my first professional theater contract with the Black Hills Playhouse. I was supposed to go on tour for that year. And as everything happened with COVID, everything kind of started to shut down and close up. And so that was my plan. And now I didn't know what to do. I was finishing up college. I had no game plan. We were together at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, he was living in Sioux Falls at the time, commuting down to Vermillion. I was living back home in Glenwood, Iowa, not knowing what I was doing. But it's like, okay, let's just move in together and figure out what life is going to be.
Yeah.
Because I also had got my degree in theater as well. But now that COVID had hit, there wasn't anything for me to do. And so he had started doing the audiobooks and then asked me to audition as well with this dual narration. And it was never an avenue that I ever thought of back in college. I'd always known of audiobooks, but never really listened to them. And never even thought of it as a career opportunity to get into, because I was solely focused on getting on stage, going to Broadway, being in movies and whatnot. And so we did that first book together, and here we are now.
Here we are.
You're at almost 100 books, and I am now up to 13.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 13.
Yeah.
So, because I quit, I had worked at Silverland in Yankton for a short amount of time just to kind of get us by and things. And then decided that I was getting burnt out as well and just needed to perform. And so doing the audiobooks, because I was just doing them part-time as he was doing them full-time.
Yeah.
It just was like, I just kind of missed performing. And it was something that I really enjoyed doing, bringing these stories to life. And so I quit my job and decided to jump in full-time as well.
If you are enjoying this and want to be a guest or sponsor, email me at vermillionunplugged@gmail.com. Best decision you guys ever did?
Yes, I think so.
It's definitely changed my life in different ways.
Well, and I never thought that I would be a full-time actor. Joining, I'm eligible to join the Screen Actors Guild. I never thought that I would be joining a union for acting potentially, and potentially have a retirement and pension for what I love, and be booked. We're very fortunate to have the clients that we have that are still booking us, and
just the different clients that we work with. Like, we've worked with people pretty much all over the world.
That's cool.
Which is really cool to be able to not only know someone from that side of the world, but to have collaborated on something that could be very meaningful in someone's life as well, because all stories deserve to be told. And
have you guys ever thought about doing also voice acting, like for TV, movie, or stuff like that?
Oh, sure. It's a you know what I would really love to do? I would love to do, it's like you have to do a lot of training for this, and I don't know what it is for remote work, but I would love to do like the dubbing on like a Netflix show. Like, how you can change the link, or like they have it dubbed in English. I would love to do that. That's actually quite a skill set that you'd have to learn. But I'd love to get into commercial work. Fortunately, we're really, really booked with audiobooks. So we don't, I was approached by a colleague recently about doing a voiceover series, and I'm excited about it because I haven't done that really. So it'll be fun.
Have you guys, when you guys started, so tell me if this is weird, because this was weird when I was trying to do some of this stuff at first, hearing my own voice, I was like, whoa, do I sound like that? Because I sound way different. Well, in my head, I sound different.
So, yes. So I'm a trained singer. And one of the things that I've always been told is because I'm so extroverted, like even today I walked in, I'm like, hey, when you're doing an audiobook is the most realistic and intimate form of acting that you can do. When I did my because I've always been really big and loud, and for an audiobook, you're in somebody's ear. And it's kind of like, maybe say me and you, Jose, are sitting at a bar, and I'm telling you a story about the librarian out here that I don't want her to hear. And I'm going to talk a little more conspiratorially. This is how loud I need to be on the microphone when I'm doing an audiobook. And that was really hard for me to learn because I'm so big. I'm a big person. And I have had, some days I just want to pull my hair out by the sound of my voice. Because you're in the booth maybe 5 hours a day, 5 to 6. It's not like other jobs where you get downtime and you might chat with a coworker or look at your phone. If I don't record, we don't get paid. So it's a full time, and you're running your DAW, you're running your digital workstation. So not only are you recording the book, you're also running your program. So yeah, it's been really hard to get. And on my own podcast, we just did an interview with the narrator who just gave some wonderful advice. Because I was like, how do you how do you handle, wanting to be perfect while you record or listening to the sound of your voice? And she's like, Kevin, you can just take your headphones off so you're not listening to your voice. And I'm like, whoa, I could. So that's been, it's honestly, it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I would say I never fully liked listening to the sound of my voice on recording, just because I feel like it's slightly different than how I normally hear myself. But when I'm working, I just try not to think too much about it. I just try to focus on the character and the story of what's going on. And because we are in the booth hours and hours, you do get tired of hearing your own voice for so long, especially if you mess up or have to make corrections and changes. Then you really have to hear your voice over and over again. And then you just kind of get frustrated with hearing yourself.
Another thing that I think is really interesting, when I first started, I was always hearing, can you do it a little deeper? Because we do a lot of romance books and they want, not everybody, sometimes they want really deep voices,
like intimate style,
or very almost gravelly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I get it.
I'm gonna throw you on the bed, and I've had to so I went to this convention and I was talking to some other narrators, and one of my narrator colleagues said, Kevin, you belong with us. We all do something different. I'm right here and John's here, but you're up here and you're bringing something different. And what you bring is enough. And I was like, wait, what? I can just be myself. For years, as an actor, I've had to you think I'm going to be what they want me to be.
Mm-hmm.
And no, as a narrator, they want you to just be you. And so finding my real voice has been really quite weird, like a journey.
Yeah.
I can just be myself. That's been really hard for me to reconcile.
Yeah, because when I was thinking about it, when I started doing just a little example with this stuff, I watch a lot of like YouTube and all that, or when they do podcasts or interviews, and I hear their voices. I'm like, man, it's just so soothing and this and that. And I was thinking, well, I should probably kind of replicate that. But I'm like, no, I'm not being myself. So that's why when I listen to myself and I listen to like my guests, like they have, like y'all guys have like a very nice soothing voice.
You do too.
Yes, you do.
I don't
as
know.
well.
I go like a little. I think I don't talk like proper.
Mhm.
Like I'll say y'all, and then sometimes I go a little ghetto on myself.
But that's why people tune in. We had a
It's
guest.
authentic.
We had a guest a couple weeks ago on our podcast, and he was apologizing about his sleeves, and I was like, I didn't even notice your sleeves. And he was, trying to talk, he started apologizing. And what he didn't realize is just him being himself is why people like him. So Jose, you belong just as you are. You don't have to change anything.
I like the positivity. Yeah. Especially the one thing I've noticed when I talk, or even I'm probably doing it right now. Like I stutter a lot. But when I do the edits and everything, as some people say, oh, can you edit this out? I'm like, sure. But the stuff I won't edit myself out because I'm like, no, that's how I talk. That's how I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to do that too. Even with sometimes I don't say a word, I might stutter a little bit or it's not as clear as it could be. But you have to think about the character in the scene. This is you're a human. And humans make mistakes, and there is nothing is perfect.
Oh, okay. So what is after this, or since you guys are doing this stuff, is there like a goal? Like what else do you guys want to do?
That's a great question. Honestly, to be a full-time actor, that's a big accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that, with the rise of AI technology, that I hope that people will still want human voices telling human stories. And that's something that's we definitely talk a lot about as narrators is what is the future for narrating with artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And I'm the firm believer of human stories should be told by humans because we bring humanity to the story. You can
get the raw emotions, the feelings of the story. Like you feel like you can connect with this person, even though you can't see them, you can only hear them. But just having that feeling of connection with a real human voice is so much more impactful.
So I hope that we can continue narrating was the answer to your question.
Yeah, especially with the AI stuff. I think when you guys were saying about the human connection, because same thing. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and you know how like some of them are using skits, or they're using. There's a few of them that I think it's like a Joe Biden and a Trump and Obama one where they're using the voices. But even though they sound like the person or like they're interpreting or impersonating a celebrity, it doesn't have that style. Like you still need, like same thing, you could change your voice, but you still need to have that style. So I don't think like, for example, an AI robot, sure, they can match or they could just sound like it, but it doesn't have that flow.
It doesn't have the cadence that a natural human sound has.
And for example, I narrated a scene a couple weeks ago where the young main character goes to the grave of his mother and talks to her. There's a lot happening in that scene. It's of course it's a very sad scene, but as an actor, when I approached that scene, I lost my dad when I was 15. I've experienced that grief. I live with that grief every day. I can bring that as an actor to the scene. That's something you can't get with artificial intelligence. Or how many times I've narrated a coming out scene where I tell a relative that I'm gay. That's not the same. If you have a robot do that, that's not the same. That's not, that's not real.
You just can't pull that out of an artificial voice.
No.
Because they don't have that lived in experience of understanding what it's like to experience that and then bring that to a story front.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are right. Now I'm kind of curious. How did y'all two meet?
Social media.
Oh, really?
So like he had said, he was on tour for the Children's Theater tour. Yep. And I was up in Sioux Falls with my college for a theater conference. And, just scrolling through social media and things. And
it was on Tinder.
Yeah.
We'll say it.
It was on Tinder. And just, he just through talking and everything, I thought he was very interesting and very sweet. And then the conference ended and time kind of went on as it does. But then later in the spring, I was like, I should revisit this. He was very nice, very sweet. And let's just see what happens. And he was snowed in on tour, happened to be snowed in. And so he had all the free time to message me back.
Yeah.
And
I was in Selby, South Dakota, and we were doing a play, and we were so snowed into the little lodge that we were staying at, like we couldn't leave the lodge. And I was in this little, in many places in rural South Dakota, you'll have the homestead house, and then you'll have the new house that they built. Mm-hmm. And so I was staying in the homestead lodge. So I was in this little room with linoleum floor, and I was I remember where I was when Cole messaged me. So
yeah, and then we kind of reconnected a little bit. And he, like you said, he is a trained singer. He does have he recorded an album
cool.
some years ago, and he sent me a few of his songs. And that kind of sealed the deal a little bit. I was like, oh, he can sing very well too.
Wow.
Here's my mixtape.
There you go.
And then I, of course, after hearing those couple songs, you look up the person even a little bit more to really get to know them, and saw the whole album. I listened through it and I was like, okay, he's very good and very sweet. And
so for all you people watching, just record an album and you'll find your significant other.
Just sing a song.
I wish I could sing, but if I sang to my wife, I think she'd probably divorce me like right there. That's cool, man. Mine was how I met Myra. Man, ours was way different than that. Yours seemed a little more romantic. Mine was not like that.
How did you meet?
So I met her. I met her in 2011. And we were so I was in Mexico, and she's from Mexico, and over there it was during the summer, so it was August 16th. See, I remember that part.
Wow.
I remember that because they have it's a little town, village, whatever, in the little town, and they always have this fair, this festival, carnival, all this stuff every year. And my cousin, she and Myra live next door, so she brought her, and this is. So if Myra's here, she's going to tell you something different. I'll tell you the truth, though. So when I saw her, I remember there was a baseball game, and I was taking a shower, and I came out, and then they just arrived. And Myra, I remember what she was wearing. She was wearing these skinny jeans, and she had this like kind of gold or brown blouse, and she came out of the pickup truck, and I was like, wow, she looks so beautiful. She is not going to talk to me. I thought she was one of those like conceited type of people. Like, oh no, I'm this and that. But she will tell you that I did not talk to her. Well, I didn't talk to her because I was so starstruck by her beauty.
Right.
That's why. But I was like, wow, she is amazing. She is beautiful. So, but we started hanging out, and yeah, it was a great time. And also, my other cousin said, hey, she's also in my class. I'm like, oh, snap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then after that, I came back to Texas. Well, I never asked for like a number or nothing, but she found me on Facebook. And she was all like, I think she said hi. And then me being smooth, I was like, what's up? That's all I just did. I didn't know what to say. And then that's how it was, just on Facebook. And then same thing. I would go like almost every year. And then been like that. We had like a long distance. So you'd
go back and see her.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had that long distance relationship. Mm-hmm. And then now we're here in South Dakota and we're married and yeah.
How did you end up in South? That's the question every South Dakotan is asked. How did you end up in South Dakota?
So funny thing, COVID was the big one. So it was, So I graduated in 20, when did COVID start happening? 2019, but 2020. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the shutdowns and everything. Yep. I was graduating. So it was like May. Mm-hmm. And I think Myra graduated a year early because she's smarter than me, or I'm just more dumb. But I thought I had everything. I thought I had everything lined up, and I was like, "Oh snap! I have no job." Because I was working at Best Buy part time. It was great, and I was looking at graduating in biology. I wanted to work in a lab, so I found I found this lab over there in Texas, and they were doing COVID stuff. I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm all set. So I quit my other job. I put my 2 weeks notice to focus on this one full time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, snap. And then Myra was going to come over. And then, we're just going to, live. And then that lasted for like almost a week. For some reason, they did not call me back. I was like, that's strange. And they're, oh, yeah, we'll call you back when there's work. Okay. Mm-hmm. Another week passed. A month passed. I think another like 2 months passed. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, okay, I just quit my job. It's COVID. No one's hiring. And I swear, I put in like 600 applications everywhere. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was in Dallas, Fort Worth. I was like, okay, let me just apply in Texas. Okay. Let me apply in the US. I don't even remember applying here at USD at all. Yeah. So I remember I was kind of.
Did you know where South Dakota was on a map?
No,
I didn't either.
I thought when I got the job, I was thinking it was in South Carolina. I was like that way, and I was like, oh snap! I'm actually got to go north. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when I was, I didn't hear anything back. I had an interview like through Zoom, but nothing. And I remember I was at this store called Winco, so it's kind of like a Sam's Club, Costco type of thing.
Oh, okay.
So I was with my mom. I remember we just got some groceries and I was kind of feeling a little down. I think it was like July. And my mom was like, are you feeling okay? I'm like, no, I haven't heard anything from no one. And she was like, what about, that interview? Did they send you anything? I'm like, no, I checked it and I got my phone and an email. And it was USD. And they said, congratulations, you got the job, be here in September or something. And I was freaking out. I was like, no way. And I was telling my mom, she was like, oh. I was like, no, it's probably one of those spam things. Cause I've had a bunch of those. And I was like, oh, what if it's real? So I was driving and I was actually speeding. I wanted to check it on the computer. And then I called Myra. I was like, hey, I think I got a job, but I'm gonna make sure. And I get there and I check and it says right there, be there, sign it. I'm like, oh, where's South Dakota? So I didn't know where that was.
Wow.
And then I looked up the map. I'm like, okay, we got to go north. Oh, snap. That's pretty far. I've never been out. And same thing, family members, usually they're either Texas, Mexico. I have some in California. I don't know anyone up here. But my mom, funny thing, she's like, hey, I have an uncle and aunt that lives in Sioux Falls. Okay.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and I actually kind of know them because they would go to Mexico on vacation. I was like, oh, snap. Okay. So we all drove. Myra came and we drove. And the plan was we were going to be here for just 1 year. And then I'll head back to Texas and, get the experience. Well, we've been here, 4 or 5 years? Yeah, we're about to hit that. And we love it here. Victoria loves it. And I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to Texas. So
I love Vermilion. I think the community is wonderful. We've been here for 5 years now, and I've always loved it. I've always loved the kindness of community here. There's actually a lot to do here too, which is great. And I think a lot of people in Vermilion are just lovely. It's yeah, and you can go. It's like the Cheers theme song. You go where everybody knows your name. You could be in Hy-Vee. Literally, I was in Hy-Vee yesterday. You walk into your neighbor and hey, and that's you can't get that in a big city.
Yeah,
So,
that small town feel.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's something I've never lived in a small town. So same thing. Like I see people like we are Hy-Vee, Walmart everywhere. I'm like, I just saw y'all, but the community part.
Yes,
that's really new, and I'm so blown away about how amazing people are. One of the things, I've been having this big giant problem. Some people know I can't talk about it too much, but there's like a little house situation, and the community friends, they like yesterday there was this little community thing, and they helped us. We had like 20 people, and oh snap! I cried a few times, and I was like, "Why are these people like helping us? Why?" And they're like, family.
Because that's what humans should do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was just blown away. And people like, especially the community, like I had some problems, and they will say, "Oh, I might not be able to help you on this, but I can refer to this, or hey, if you need help, just call me up." I'm like, wow, in Vermilion, I could not believe it. I love it. I actually do love it. Except the winters. Yeah. The winters I hate. But everything else is fine.
We got pretty lucky this winter. It wasn't as bad as I've seen.
I've lived through 4 different Midwest winters because I was born in Omaha, Nebraska. So I know Nebraska winter, but grew up in Iowa. They're both kind of similar winters, but one gets more snow than the other. Went to school in Missouri, and you get more ice than you do snow. It'll start like snowing maybe about an inch or so, and everybody's just storming their stores, getting all the supplies. I'm like, why is everybody freaking out? Because I'm used to, 4 to 6 inches of snow, and we're just barreling through it with our vehicles.
Yeah.
Just like, it's no big deal. Until I started walking across campus on ice skates, because it is just ice everywhere in Missouri. It just gets super icy.
Did you really go on ice skates?
No, not ice skates. I was just saying, like, as if you were on ice skates. God, that'd be a long
Cole's
walk.
dad is a good ice skater, so I had to confirm. I was like,
that is. And then moving up here, you get ice, you get the snow, you get the extreme cold, and it's a lot of snow. So we were lucky this last year, but I'm not a big fan of winter.
Yeah, I'm still trying to. I feel lucky because that first year, there was a bunch of snow. There was snow, and then the following year there was less snow, but it was cold. That was the first time I felt negative. And I thought there was one time I was walking to work, and then I couldn't breathe, and I was like, I got inside. I was like, am I having a heart attack or something? What's going on? And then I told my friends, and they were like, yeah, it's some type of wind chill. I'm like, is that normal?
Yeah. That wind chill gets you.
Yeah. So
it does.
Apparently I didn't know that you could die in the winter. That doesn't happen too often in Texas. I know it gets hot, but there's some heat strokes, but you could be like, I'll give the 2 examples. Let's say, winter here and then summer Texas weather. Car breaks down. Sure. It'll be hot. You'll be fine. Maybe an hour, 2 hours, find some shade. It'll be okay. Break down. Negative something degree weather, and you could die. You get frostbite if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
Or if there's snow, like that stuff is bad.
Yeah.
So y'all guys are tough.
Keep a blanket in your car.
Yep.
Always. We
live on a corner, and so we got our house 2 years ago now.
Yeah, it'll be coming up 2 years.
And our neighbor was like, "Oh, you're on a corner. Be ready." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then we had our first big blizzard, and we immediately bought a snowblower. It was like, no, because the city, when they plow, it all goes just right. It's like extra. It's extra.
Yeah.
So
And then we just started plowing everybody else's driveways.
So you think about that when it comes time to buy a house, and you're like, that snowblower.
Think of South Dakota winter.
Yeah.
Something that blows my mind is I have some friends that live outside in the country.
Oh yeah.
And one of them, they live. There's a nice place, but there's this like hill, like it's an actual hill. And I've asked, I said, how do you guys like leave? Like we don't. Okay, there it is.
We go to the store and we are prepared.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or some of them will have, or luckily, they got good neighbors. They have like tractors or this and that. I'm like, okay. So that's what I was wondering. I was like, well, it'll be nice. But...
Jose, when I mentioned earlier that I worked for Dakota Players, and I thought that I had seen bad winters here, but like when you're out in Mobridge, up north, Leola area, and the snow gets up to the roofs, you're like, oh my gosh, this is, I've driven past, like things on the road. I'm like, there is so much snow. We're still pretty lucky down here in Vermilion. It gets really bad up north.
So it could get worse up north.
Oh, it gets worse.
It can get way worse.
This is like you're saying your story, and I'm like, yeah, you got to go a little bit north. I mean, seriously, I was snowed in when I met Cole. I was snowed in for 3 days. Like I could not leave because there was that much snow.
Yep.
So it's that bad.
It's that bad.
It can get that bad. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, at least the winter or the summers. I think the summer, I think, is great. Even right now, my daughter, because she was like, oh, the Google Home said it's going to be like 75 degrees. Let me check. She said, oh, it's so hot. I'm like, really? But so
have you been back to Texas with her?
Yeah. Over the summer? Oh, yeah. She hated it. It was bad. Even I didn't get used to it. There was we went there in, when was it? July. Yeah, it was June or July. It was July, beginning of July. And I made the mistake of, me and my cousins, we were like, oh, let's go play pickleball outside. And I have my pants. I didn't wear any shorts. And you were playing there for like an hour or two. Everything's fine. And, we come back home and I'm like, why am I still sweating? I'm like sweating. Apparently, I think I might have been overheating the whole time.
Oh.
So I had to go take a cold shower and I'm like, oh, snap, this is bad.
Jose, I'm worried about you. Like, what are you doing outside? Like,
I was like, we're the only ones outside.
Right.
And then my wife, the first time we came back to Texas, it was 2021. It was in the summer and we were in downtown. I went to take the truck for an oil change. And I still remember because I was like, I remember it being hot. And she was like, let's go walk downtown. And I'm like, why? Why do we want to walk? It's the middle of July. It's like 12 p.m. Why would we want to walk? She's like, let's walk. Because she wants to see it. We're walking, same thing. I'm about to like die. And we go inside the hospital, to cool off and this and that. And she enjoyed it. But she was like, where's all the people at? Well, there's no one outside because it's too hot.
Yeah.
So the summer is bad. I don't like it.
It's the dry heat.
The dry heat is bad. So last week was kind of nice, right? The nice weather.
Yeah, it was. Last week. Well, it's been hard in the booth because of the rain has been coming, so the pollen and everything. That's something that can be tricky for us. Is we have to keep our HVAC system off when we're recording because even though we have a booth, we can still hear the HVAC system in the microphone. So we have
deal
to
with a lot of outside elements when it comes to recording. So we have to turn off the HVAC system. We have to like pause or stop recording if like a car like that's
really
very loud going by. Like you can hear someone mowing their yard, maybe a couple houses down, dogs barking. And so it's just a pause, sit and wait.
Like our booth is very good sound dampening, but it's
not soundproof.
It's not soundproof. So we still deal with a lot of high end and low end frequency sounds. But when it's summer, like it's already been like hot in the booth. Like, so we have to turn off, like we have a ventilation system which keeps the air rotating, but we even can't have that on full blast because you can pick it up in the microphone. So,
whoa. See, man, because I was going to say with the summer or like last week, I've seen, when it's, I'm going to say like 70, when the sun's out, I see like a lot of people out, but maybe it's just me. Because I'm like, why do you guys want to? I see like people like sunbathing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why do you guys want to be in the sun? I've been in the sun like my whole entire life. So I'm one of those people that I'll either wear a long sleeve, I won't be outside, or you'll see me. And it's kind of strange. I wear a bunch of sunscreen because there was one time, and I do a lot of stupid stuff. And I read all my info I get is on the internet, which is bad. But there was one time, same thing. Me and my cousins and a group of kids, we went to a water park. It was called NRH2O, a great place. And I read some information on the internet saying, vitamin D, this and that, it's pretty good. And I'm like, I could tolerate that. And I'm like, I got some darker skin. I'm okay. So we were out there for like 6 hours, and I did not wear sunscreen. And it was the worst decision, one of the worst decisions ever. By the end of the day, well, first of all, I thought, because I wasn't with Myra yet on that time, so some people were staring at me, and I was like, oh snap! All these girls, they're probably checking me out. No, it was because I was all red.
You were red,
and I was starting blistering up. And I remember, like, at the end of the day, they said, "Hey, you're really red," and I was like, and I could not. I was like, oh man, this is not good. And
I've been a summer camp counselor for the last 10 years, so I'm a huge proponent for sunscreen, and I've really had to even do more now that I've got tattoos, because the sun will start to make them fade if you don't. Like, if you stay on the sun so long, then and you don't put like sunscreen on your tattoos, they will start to fade out. So I've had to really pack on the sunscreen, and especially with water, because that sunlight will reflect off that water so fast. This last summer, I was with my kids, and we went down the Niobrara River. It was a specialty camp where they get to live, canoe down the river, hit a couple of the sandbars, and like camp out and cook their own food and stuff on the river. But when you're in a canoe, you don't necessarily think, oh, I'll be fine. I kind of have some layers on. I can put on some sunscreen. But you're in a metal boat, and you have that water just reflecting off of you. And like, there's trees around, but they're like on each side of the river. You're not on the river itself. And so I was just burnt to a crisp.
Well, and you're inside a lot now too. Like, you're not outside like you usually are.
Yeah, so. I'm not outside
like you used to be.
I used to be and everything. Because I would get pretty tan in the summer. I would get pretty dark. And so I wouldn't necessarily need to put on sunscreen. It's like, I'll be fine. Maybe get a little bit of redness on the shoulders and everything. Nowadays, it's like, no, I have to like slather it on, because otherwise I will get burnt.
Yeah. Cole and I were featured narrators for a Rainbow Readers cruise down in Florida that went on a cruise that went to the Bahamas this last August. And one of the days you stop at Coco Cay. And so like, we did our panels, and we, chatted with the readers and everything. And then we went out like with a fellow narrator colleague of ours with his wife. We went out to the beach, and I put on like as much sunscreen as I thought, but like, I never go outside anymore. I am always in the booth. And like, this is a rare treat to come to the library to talk to Jose. And I'm just glad to be out of the house. Jose, when I say I was burnt, I looked like Sebastian from The Little Mermaid. It was horrible.
What?
Almost to the point where you couldn't necessarily walk without feeling some type of burn.
Like, you couldn't. I was a piece of bacon. Like, I was so burnt.
Because you don't think about that. You're in the water. You're thinking, oh, I'm cooled off. It'll be fine. Again, sunlight reflects off that water. And yeah, you can put on all the sunscreen in the world, but
yeah,
you just have to be more diligent.
Yeah,
I think that's a wonderful thing about Vermilion too, that I think we don't think about, is we can go out and just be outside, and it's not a big thing to go to the park, and everybody's out, enjoying the community. That's wonderful to see.
You can see people running always, walking their dogs, going to the park, or just walking downtown, just to walk downtown.
It's nice. I do like it, especially the summers. Vermilion is great. A lot of the students have let it's more calmer. And then we go to that pool over there at Prentice Park, which if people ever see me, I'll put sunscreen, and like every 30 minutes I'll go, because that's how traumatized I was. I think I'm fine, but no, after that, it was just that bad. So Yeah, wear sunscreen.
What inspired you, Jose, to start this podcast?
So almost every person always asks me that, usually after we record. So what I was very intrigued about Vermilion because, I'm from a bigger city and it's very small. So I was like, why is this so small? And, there's Sioux City, Sioux Falls. And I just started talking to people. Hey, how come I've heard for some reason there was like a rumor about a Taco Bell, but I was wondering where's all this stuff?
I've heard this too. When is it happening? Can we make it happen? This community wants Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Some rich person. We'll work there. We'll work.
They want a Taco Bell,
please,
or a Target. Those are the big ones.
Yes,
that people want.
I take Taco Bell. Like we need Taco Bell.
I'll take. If there was? What would they have? I don't know. We don't go out to eat a lot, but I do like Target.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. Now I'm thinking this is where the off topic. Oh yeah, let me go back to it. Yeah. So I was very intrigued by it, and then I went to. I just accepted it. I was like, okay, small town is fine, and I heard about Brookings, and I thought Brookings. Well, I was like, oh yeah, double the size or population. It's probably a little bit bigger. So I was like, hey, let's have that Brookings, see how it is. I was blown by Brookings. I was like, whoa, they got a lot of stuff.
They do have a lot of stuff.
And a lot of stuff. And I was like, whoa, well, how come Vermilion, which I like Vermilion, I'm like, but how come there's not too much of that? So I started kind of digging into it, started asking people, and then I went to these like city council meetings and this and that. I started meeting people. And a person named Carson Merkwan, he's the one that he owns the Main Street Inn. Nice guy. And they were, he told me, he kind of gave me that inspiration. He said, why don't you do like a podcast thing? And I was like, podcast? And I was thinking, first it was going to be like news related, hey, what's going on in Vermilion? But I was like, nah, it's kind of boring. I was like, well, I've been talking to some people. And I remember I talked to the first person I got, well, besides Carson, we kind of did like an episode 0. But my first episode is a friend of mine. He's a pastor. And we were just talking about, I had a lot of religious questions. So that was fine. Yeah. And then the second person I had, he's also a friend of mine. So he's a law student named Taylor. He's a law student. He's also a pilot.
Oh, wow.
And I think either a pro or semi-professional golfer. So he's very, very interesting. And I started learning like, we were talking about aviation law, but he was talking about the mental health of pilots. I was like, I never knew about that. And then I started talking to, I had another one. It was Jose Dominguez, the city engineer. And at first I was just going to get him and talk about city stuff because I heard, people complaining about some things. I heard he was Puerto Rican. And I was like, oh, snap. Well, I'm Mexican background. He's Puerto Rican. And then almost like half the episode, we were just comparing our cultures, talking about it.
Yeah.
And then I asked him about, wait, do you like your job? He was like, I do like it. I really, really love it. And he was talking about some stuff he did and put some things people don't know about the job.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. So that's how, now I started getting people. I would ask a lot of people in the beginning and I would just ask. And I've had like some people say no. I'm like, dang it. Now I'm at that point where I have people asking me. And one of the jokes I made before, I was like, man, I wish I got paid. Well, I only had two of them. Same thing. It was Carson from Main Street Inn and then Becky from Winnie Mae's.
Love Becky.
Oh, we love Becky.
Yeah.
Hey, Winnie Mae's. Hi.
Yeah.
That's where I usually go to get my hair done at.
Yeah,
so.
they both of them, we did like a little sponsorship. So with that money, same thing, like the equipment, mostly those mics, they were borrowed. And then I said, hey, can I buy them? And they're like, of course you can. So I got that and I got this. And now I started, I only done 2 of them, a newsletter type of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people, well, okay, I don't want to say a lot. I've had people just, hey, can you put this on this? I'm like, yeah, hey, we're having this event. Can you put this? Sure. Hey, can you put like a helps wanted? Sure. Man, put it out. I'm down with anything. Yeah. So that's
great.
Yeah, I love it. I enjoy it. Like, when I get a guest, I get so excited. I'm not saying, okay, my other job is it's not that fun. It gets the bills paid and it has its moments, but this stuff is amazing.
Can I ask what it is? What do you do?
Yeah. So right now it's administration work at the med school.
Okay.
Think of, like I'm like a secretary, I guess, balancing budgets, ordering stuff, this. The previous one I had, was still at the med school. That's when I got hired for. Was I was a research lab technician.
Okay.
So I would do it was heart research, heart mouth surgeries. That stuff was fun.
Oh, wow.
But for some reason, this job pays more than the heart surgery. So I'll take that. And it's a little more relaxing.
Yeah.
Like way more. I was so stressed out the other one. And I would be there on weekends. And this one gives me, I get some free time sometimes, especially like doing this.
Yeah.
I'll take my hour lunch. But I love it. I honestly love it. It's so fun.
There's so much that people do in Vermilion that you don't know in the sports realm, in the performing realm, in the the law school realm. You say, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forget that's there.
Yeah.
There's so many things that people do. I want to mention something, Jose, if that's okay, and you can cut this out if you want to. But one of the things that I'm very passionate about in Vermilion is the South Dakota Shakespeare Festival. And unfortunately, there's been some pretty horrible federal cuts to their budget.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you are watching and love to go to that free event, which brings in thousands of people to our community every year, which supports our local business as well, they need your help. And if you can spare even $1 or $5, please go to Facebook or the South Dakota Shakespeare Festival website. They have a QR code that you can donate. They need all the help they can get. This event has been going on for over a decade. I was in school when it started. I remember when it was just Haya Gordon Bland did it was her brainchild to bring in, Shakespeare to Prentice Park, and it really brings so many people into Vermilion. If you can find it in your heart to donate, please donate. They need all the help they can get to keep that program going. It's not looking good. So
when is the festival?
It's usually in June, I believe, and I think it was Romeo and Juliet this year.
Ooh,
might have been, yeah.
So, but they just announced the other day that they're facing some horrific federal cuts, and so they need all the help they can get.
Okay, yeah, I'll put the links and everything. One thing that helped a lot. I'm not saying I did it. I just put the link. Was where our pizza is, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Farron's. Now it's or he has Shaquan. When I put the stuff on there, I put his GoFundMe, and then I messaged him. I said, hey, because I always check it. And I said, hey, you got a bunch of people donating now, over 1,000 or something.
That's great.
And he was like, man, we should have done that podcast before. I was like, yeah. I'll put, if it's for the community, I'm down. So I didn't know about they got cut or they had some budget cuts.
A lot of arts organizations are facing federal cuts right now for.
Man. I should have.
So
dang, I need to ask Bruce then, the dean of the art stuff. I should ask Ray what's going on too. I didn't know that. We got hit too hard. And one of the things that I like how my boss is very honest. He's very worried. He's like, hey, you guys might lose y'all's jobs because we're funded by grants. And that sucks a lot. And I don't know, I won't go too much into the politics stuff, but one thing that people might not know is, especially medicine, this and that, a lot of it, they find it in universities. That's how it gets funded. I thought it was in a private sector. No, it's universities. Yeah. So, because what I seen at the med school, well, I know them. There's heart research, there's cancer, there's brain, and there's also, they're working on Alzheimer's, or unless they switch that. But then, my boss does viruses, he does this, and there's a lot of cool stuff. And if there's no funding, no grants, well, professors, they need that money. That's how they get funded for their labs and for, buying stuff, and also the students. So, now I got more stress in my life, and oh man, I got a house situation and I got this. But I think everything will be fine. Worst case scenario, I'll look for another job, or maybe this will grow. One of those. Things. But sometimes it's, at least in my case, it's creating those opportunities yourself. And if this is a passion, I am living proof that you can make it happen. You can build something from the ground up. Yeah. So I'm are you guys familiar with remember it, the Vermilion Pride stuff they do?
I'm not. I mean, we've gone to some of the drag shows and I've gone to some of the parades that they do, but I'm not really affiliated with them.
Okay, because that happens in June or July, right? It happens in the summer, and I've been trying to get someone on there. It's just been very, very hard, but I'm trying to see like all the events that's coming up. But now you told me about that Shakespeare. I need to. Who does that stuff?
Well, that's put on through the university. I don't know if they're separate or maybe they're a separate organization.
They might be.
But I saw Ray's post on it the other day, and it's all funded through the government, and so it would be a real shame if that had to.
I'll ask Ray and all that, but we're about to hit that hour. But
all right.
What is there any last words? Where can people find you guys at?
Well, if you like audiobooks, you can always, especially the romance genre, you can always search us on Audible or search us on I'm at kevinearlywine.com.
And I'm at colemichaelkurtz.com.
So you can always find us there. We'll be producing audiobooks for the foreseeable future. Yeah. Or if you see Shrek, the Vermillion Community Theater show, you might see us. We just auditioned yesterday. You might see us in that. So we don't know, but we'll see.
So check out Audible. Just type in our names and you can see all of the books that we have done together. And there's quite a few of the ones that we have done together. So if you find him, you'll definitely find me.
Yeah.
Or even through Amazon as well. They'll still have like the audiobooks listed there as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Otherwise, just find us around town. Yeah. Say hi.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I think that should be good. But I want to thank y'all guys so much, Kevin and Cole. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jose.